Glock 30. Gosh, even sounds bad saying it. Glock. Sounds like you're throwing up. Glock. Well, I own one, alright? I bought one. As much as I complain about Glocks and Glock fanboys, and I'm not a big fan of Glock because they're just they're Glock. You know, everybody has a Glock. I can't have the same thing as everybody else because I gotta be different just because I'm whatever. Fine, I bought one, alright? I bought one to prove a point. I bought one just because I wanted to hate this thing. I wanted to prove so bad to just, yes, Glocks are garbage and everything bad. Just Smith & Wesson better than Smith & Wesson rap. And I failed. I actually don't hate this thing. As much as I want to hate it, I don't hate it. This is a decent shooter. It carries well. It works. Fine. So let's get into it. Nothing in the mag, nothing in the chamber, nothing in here, nothing between my ears. Same as always. This beast, this fat, chunky, weird looking, honestly kind of hideous looking thing, which is fatter than Rosie O'Donnell after a 24 pack of donuts and then some. It kind of fits my hand and isn't really long and carries nicely and shoots well and God, why? I want to hate this thing. I really want it. But it holds 10 rounds of 45 ACP. 10! Smith & Wesson M&P, full size, 10 rounds in that one, but the magazine's this freaking long. Why? Smith & Wesson, why couldn't you do this? Couldn't you just make it just a little bit wider, stagger the rounds a little bit more, so you can squish them this way? Why couldn't you do that? No, you had to make them this long and skinny, because, I mean, even if they'd have just gotten rid of this plastic thing, this shell that they put on all these Glock magazines for who knows what reason, they could have narrowed this down by about 1/8 of an inch and still made it the same size, but they could have made the grip smaller, thinner, you know. Fine, okay, Glock, you win. You win, Glock, you got that. You got 10 rounds in a package that's the same height as a Smith & Wesson shield. I hate to admit it. Yes, look at it. Look. It is the same height as a flush-fit magazine M&P shield, and it's only about a 1/2 inch difference in overall length. Look at that. There's where the difference is. This is as fat as a freaking 2x4, whereas this is not. This is 1 inch. This is like 1 1/4 inches and then some. And this is not heavy. This is 21 ounces. This is a lot. It's heavy. And all of the weight is in the top end. This giant freaking slide, which weighs a ton. This is plastic. This weighs nothing. This is like, I don't know, 2-3 ounces or something. This is a brick. This is where all the weight is. This by itself, just the slide, weighs about as much as this. The entire freaking gun. It's a Glock. Glocks are heavy. Glocks are big. Glocks are thick. Glocks are ugly. Glock. But, I have to give credit where credit is due. It's simple. It's basic. It's reliable. This freaking thing shoots steel-cased ammo like premium brass. This will shoot anything in 45. Heavy, light, subsonic, plus P, anything. You can shoot it all out of this thing and it works. God, I hate admitting these things. And the recoil! The recoil! 45 ACP! Big, fat, freaking chunk of lead. Going almost 1,000 feet per second at 230 grains. It doesn't recoil bad. This thing recoils about the same as a 9mm Smith & Wesson M&P shield. Shot them back to back. Feels almost exactly the same, really. Follow-up shots, single shots, everything, it's almost like the same gun. The only difference is, obviously, the thickness and the capacity. I don't get it. just not right. Well, a lot of it's because of the weight of the slide. Again, this is a heavy chunk of steel. So when that cartridge fires, it has to move all this weight back. That provides resistance in and of itself. Plus the fact that it has a double spring inside there, a captured double spring, which softens the recoil quite a bit. And it works. So yes, I can shoot this fast. I can shoot this accurately. And it doesn't have a lot of muzzle flip. It has the same as a small 9. Alright, fine. This is just getting depressing. I have to admit all these good things about a Glock. Ugh. Alright, well, then what else is there? Oh, yes, it's got a decent trigger. Now, I won't say it's a great, excellent, perfect trigger because it's not a single action. It's not a 1911. It is not a target pistol. But as far as striker-fired pistols go, this is kind of the standard. Short take-up, reset. It's a Glock. Pretty much all Glock triggers are the same. If you've shot a Glock, one Glock, any Glock, you know what the trigger feels like. I don't even need to go into the detail. It's a Glock trigger, okay? Plain and simple, Glock trigger. You can dry fire it all day, trying to break the thing. It works. It's a Glock trigger. It works. Not heavy, probably about 5.5 pounds, which is kind of in between. It's not really light, not really heavy, but it's safe to carry with no manual safety, and you can shoot it pretty accurately. So, okay, fine, yes, okay, it's got that. And it's simple. And you can get accessories out the wazoo for it, most of the time. There are some things specifically about this Glock 30 you cannot get, mainly dealing with the grip and the width. Those are the two things that are a problem for this. Otherwise, you can get stuff to fit on the rail, you can get, extended slide releases, you can get extended magazine releases, you can get different sights, you can get different strikers, you can get the different backing plate, you can, all these little wonderful things. But there is one thing, holsters. This thing is fat. It's fatter than a Glock 26, a Glock 27, it's just fat. Look at you fat thing, you fat. Oh, you fatty kids, you're just so thick. Oh, God, you're big, fat, heavy. And holsters are hard to find for this, specifically the Glock 30 and Glock 21, because of the thickness. It's just, if you're looking for a molded like Kydex holster, it just does not fit this, and about the only thing you can usually find more commonly is a Glock 21 holster. Those are usually like duty kind of holsters, so it's kind of hard to find a holster specifically to fit the Glock 30. And if you have even a Glock 36 or a Glock 30S or something along those lines, you're really out of luck because that's even more specific. Getting a little submodel of detail here. This is a standard Glock 30. This is not the Glock 30 SF, which has a shorter frame. It's shorter between the inside the trigger guard here and the backing of the grip here, the back strap. The SF is a little shorter. It's good for people with shorter fingers. The 30S is the same thing as the 30SF frame, but with a Glock 36 slide, which is not as fat. It's not as heavy. The 36 slide on a Glock 30 SF frame equals a Glock 30S. So, probably a different story, probably not as heavy and everything, but this is the big honkin' original. This is the 30, the original Glock 30. It's fat. Now, okay, it has this Tenifer finish thing going on. This weird, slippery, black, Teflon-like finish called Tenifer. Some kind of mystical, weird, magic voodoo that Glock uses. Probably the same demon that they sold their soul to Satan for their 10-round magazine capacity. It allows you to clean this thing with the ease of a paper towel. I am not exaggerating. You go shoot this thing at the range, a couple hundred rounds, you come home, you use a paper towel, it's clean. Maybe not the inside of the bore, but everything else. I mean, you take it apart, you clean it, just wipe it down, just wipe everything down with a paper towel, stick it back together. You could spit on it for a lube, because it doesn't really take diddly to lubricate this thing, and you're back in business. So yeah, Tenifer, kind of a plus. Even though underneath that Tennifer finish is a carbon steel slide. Ah, but look, Smith & Wesson kind of got Tennifer. They got melanite, and underneath that is stainless steel. Ah, yes, and it's American made. Yes, so even if you wear that off, it's still underneath stainless steel, and it's USA made, and this is made in Austria. It's not USA made, and it's not stainless. Yeah, yeah, take that, yeah. But it doesn't rust. It's, yeah, it just works. I can carry it. It doesn't rust. It's easy to clean. And it's slippery, and that is a good and a bad thing. And bad thing being this right here. Part of it is, again, the Tennifer, but part of it is also these slide serrations. I'm not a fan. Now, they could, I mean, you can actually get some other people to cut these slides differently and make them kind of like these fish scale things, which Smith & Wesson is just the king of slide serrations as far as I'm concerned. These rule. These, they're just basics. They're not very sharp. They're not very deep. And if you have slippery hands, like here out in Arizona, your hands get all slippery. You go to the range and it's like, so yeah, the slide serrations and the texture of that Tennifer finish kind of work against you. And there's ways around it. You can put like grip tape in there or whatever. But, so maybe that's kind of a not good thing. And I'll give it one other thing. One other thing. Glock 30 will accept Glock 21 magazines. Why is that a big deal? Well, 13 rounds of 45 ACP instead of just 10. 13 rounds and more grip area. You can get a little adapter. X Grip makes an adapter that just slips on here, kind of like the Ruger SR9, SR9C. Those little adapters that make it look like a full-size grip. So basically, by buying a Glock 30 and just getting that adapter and a Glock 21 mag, you have two guns. You can, just by swapping mags, go from a little compact concealed carry package to a full-size, duty-size, open carry or whatever kind of setup with more rounds and more grip. So, yeah, it's kind of nice. You kind of get two extra guns. But you're only getting an extra 3 rounds for all that extra space. And it's a little bit of a difference there in length. But, hey, let's face it. It's 45. 45, 45, so much better than 9. It's huge, it's powerful, it's manly. And it's, let's just face it, it's terminally the same effectiveness as 9mm if you put the shots where they need to go. But never mind, it's 45. It's manly. So, yeah, it's not perfect. It's a Glock. And I want to hate it, but I don't. I actually enjoy carrying this. I actually enjoy shooting it. It is a good gun. I don't regret buying it. But I didn't drink the Glock fanboy Kool-Aid. It comes with this little packet, and when you open the box, all this little instruction manual and stuff comes out of there. There's this little packet of Kool-Aid. It says Glock on it, and you open it up and you drink it. And after you drink that, then you think everything you own should be Glock. Every gun should be Glock. Every 9mm, 45, 40, it's got to be Glock. Anything other than Glock is Glock, 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 Glock. But yeah, there's the Glock fanboy syndrome. Everybody thinks just because they like one model of Glock, or one model is everything. It should be Glock. It's stupid. They have, of all the gun manufacturers out there, Glock has the worst and most annoying fanboys of all. Even 1911 snobs aren't nearly as bad as Glock fanboys. It's just baffling. It's just because Glock was one of the first manufacturers to come out with a polymer-framed, striker-fired pistol without a manual safety in the 80s. They were the first one to come out with that, really, to make it cheap and popular and simple. They got a good design. They got a lot. It just works. It's functional. And then they just mass-marketed the crap out of them to law enforcement and government agencies. And everybody thought, well, if the government uses it, then it has to be the ultimate. And so it just kind of went from there. Fact is, nowadays, after years and years and years of, competition, you've got other manufacturers that make very good striker-fired pistols. Some, in some ways, are superior to this one. There are only a couple things, though, that this still has over the competition, and like I said, 10 rounds of 45 ACP in this package. Nobody else at this point really has something that competes with that. Taurus almost has one. Almost. They have the PT-145, which does hold 10 rounds plus one in a similar size package, and in fact, it is just a little thinner in the grip. But the problem with Taurus is their triggers are garbage. They have this long, squishy take-up, and it's a Taurus trigger. You gotta fire or feel a Taurus to know what I'm talking about with that. It's just horrible, and it has a manual safety on there. So nobody else has quite pulled this off yet. It's doable. It's not like nobody else can make one with a thinner grip, shorter, lighter, more ergonomic. I mean, it's not that this is bad, but something that just, feels more like this or more like this. Why can't they do that? I don't know. But for the time being, Glock, they kind of have it. I'll admit it. Fine, there you have it. Glock, you made a good pistol. I don't hate it, and I think I'll actually keep it. So there you have it. For what it's worth, it's my 2 cents on that. Glock. Thanks for watching.